We have identified the radical climate activist, the extremist, in fact, who assaulted me on Parliament Hill just a few days ago. He took my microphone and threw it down the street. He ripped it out of my hands, and if my finger wasn't so sweaty, he probably would have broken my finger. Now, the climate extremist, his name is John O'Brien. He's from Peterborough, Ontario, and he has spent the last few months on Parliament Hill doing what radical climate extremists do, standing out in the bitter cold, beating his head against a brick wall, and assaulting people when people don't capitulate to his extremist demands. That's exactly what happened here. Watch the full footage.
Go away.
Don't touch me.
F off and go away with that fucking bullshit. Get the fuck out of here.
I just want to know what you think about how hypocritical you appear with these plastic tarps.
Wow. They're made out of plastic? I had no idea. Okay. Oh my God, they're made out of plastic. I didn't know that. F off and go away.
Were you actually not aware, or you're just joking around, I guess?
Do I look stupid? No, I think...
Well, you kind of do, because you're protesting the oil sands, you're protesting... Well, actually, I'm not too sure what you're protesting. Obviously...
We're protesting shitheads like you.
Obviously, you're not a fan of plastic.
Women at a camp last year.
What?
You threatened women at a camp
last year. No, I didn't. You're absolutely crazy.
Your group.
You're crazy. Yeah, I didn't do that at all.
Get the hell out of here!
Chill out. John is his name.
Now, I have to thank this fella here one more time. He actually saw this assault from a car. He was driving down the road, and it was just some random dude. He saw it, he recognized me, he appreciated the work that I do, and he was obviously very upset with what John O'Brien was doing. Watch his response to what happened.
We care about Mother Earth, we don't care about how to treat human beings. You want us to treat the planet, but you don't even know how to treat humans?
Now, my boss, Ezra Levant, bless his soul, whenever a Rebel News journalist or staffer is assaulted on the job, he seeks justice, and that's exactly what we're doing now. Since the parliamentary police saw exactly what happened but wouldn't bother to lift a finger, we're reaching out to Ottawa police. We've retained a lawyer, and he has sent this letter, you can see it right here, demanding that the Ottawa police investigate this blatant assault. See, if it was the other way around, if this was some sort of right-wing extremist rather than a left-wing extremist assaulting anyone on the Hill, the police would be in a frenzy. In fact, there's a story that just came out a few days ago that Jagmeet Singh and Justin Trudeau, although the mainstream media for some reason didn't cover that, they were just concerned about Jagmeet Singh. Poor Jagmeet Singh was being followed by some kind of crazy guy saying that he was going to be arresting Jagmeet Singh. Funny enough, this exact same guy was standing behind me while I was trying to scrum Justin Trudeau, telling me that I would have a great story if I just waited and watched him arrest Justin Trudeau. Weirdly enough, 2 undercover security agents for Justin Trudeau were standing right next to him the whole time, talking to him, deliberating with him, and then they left right moments before Justin Trudeau was supposed to come out of Langevin Block. They just backed away. If this guy was actually an extreme conservative, someone who thought that they could arrest the Prime Minister, some sort of citizen's arrest, the RCMP would not let him within 100 meters of the Prime Minister, probably not within a few kilometers of the Prime Minister. Hell, they searched my bag because I wanted to ask the Prime Minister just a few questions when I was in Montreal during the last election, but they just walked away when this guy was putting the Prime Minister's life at risk, and they allowed the cameras to keep rolling, and that's just with the Prime Minister. For some reason, this guy was following every leftist politician around Centre Block, around the parliamentary precinct, and the police just let it happen. And in fact, they invited the mainstream media to cover this as much as possible. The CBC put out an article saying that they were going to be boosting parliamentary security because there's not enough parliamentary police officers, supposedly, to protect politicians from these extreme conservatives, these wackos, that for some reason Justin Trudeau's security was enabling. But when it comes to conservative journalists who are being assaulted by extreme leftist kooks, well, they just don't care. John O'Brien got his permission to be violent from Catherine McKenna. Catherine McKenna condoned that when she called her political opponents climate deniers. Her radical speech throughout this entire time that she has been Minister of the Environment and then Minister of Environmental Infrastructure, or whatever she is right now, she has enabled this sort of violence. This leftist violence is only going to be on the rise. In fact, it doesn't just stop here in Ottawa. This violence is going to be increasing more and more as Justin Trudeau and his friends stay in power longer and longer, as these climate extremists get more and more desperate as an election looms. For example, an Albertan was just arrested in Portland in the riots that are burning down the United States. Antifa, Black Lives Matter, leftist, eco-radicals, whatever they are. They were just arrested in Portland. This violence is going to be coming to Canada, and this is just the start. This radical climate extremist, this violent extremist, has been on the Hill for quite some time. He's got GoFundMes. He's been in the leftist media, the alternative media on the left, for quite some time. He's got the full backing of every leftist politician, from Justin Trudeau and Catherine McKenna to Jagmeet Singh. All of the leftists are behind him, and he's been radicalized by those politicians, by Catherine McKenna, who calls people like me, people that are skeptical of this radical extreme ideology that John O'Brien supports, well, she calls us climate deniers, akin to Holocaust deniers. It is an atrocious thing to call a political opponent, but you know as well as I do that Catherine McKenna isn't the most civilized individual.
I found out one of the most popular dishes in Flores was dog. Guess what we had for lunch?
This is actually the second time I've been assaulted in Ottawa, so I don't really have high hopes because the police didn't do a whole hell of a lot when Antifa busted my phone while we were at the United We Roll convoy in Ottawa, but it's worth a shot. I said that we would be wiring $500 to whoever the first individual was that successfully identified John O'Brien, this radical climate extremist. And we always follow through on our word. In this case, the very first person who reached out said that they don't actually want the money. They'll put the money towards something else that we're doing. And man, I really appreciate that, because what do you know, we actually needed to get a new mic for me after my mic was completely busted. So we're going to be putting that money that he said he just didn't want, which I very much appreciate, because we need every penny that we can get at Rebel News to keep doing what we're doing. That money is going to be going towards my new mic, and it's going to be going towards the lawyer's fees of getting justice and getting this man, someone who frankly never should have been on the streets outside of Parliament in the first place, if violence is his knee-jerk reaction. For Rebel News, I'm Keean Bexte. Hey there, thanks for tuning into our coverage here at Rebel News. Be sure to like and subscribe, and if you want to help pitch in to cover the cost of my new mic and the retainer fee and all of the costs, legal costs that it's going to take for our lawyer to follow up with the Ottawa Police Service to make sure that this radical extremist gets charged, please do that at findthethug.com.